Hi, I'm Maria Aranzazu. I'll be your tour guide today to show you around the beautiful and culturally rich city of Granada, Spain. We will be going back to the 1200s when the city was under the control of the Arabs. Granada was a memorable city in Spain as the architecture embodies the identity of the people who lived here. Citizens have a very defined sense of self driven by their religion. Society was stratified by religion and class. The religions in the area were Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. The Arabs were the dominating religion as they had conquered the area. They had important places in the government and powerful jobs. The Christians played a pivotal role as the merchant and commoners. The Jews were the minority. These citizens acknowledged the superiority of the Muslims. They had restrictions when building synagogues and churches, but they could freely practice their religion. The coexistence of the diverse people brought a blended culture to Granada that is reflected in the architecture. The people of Granada had kept their freedom after the Muslims conquered Granada. Though Islam was the dominant religion, Jews, Christians, and others were not treated so entirely different. Everyone was able to coexist. While living together, they were able to share knowledge with one another, such as language, ideas, and culture. Knowledge was so important that the ruler at the time, Yusuf I, had a school built in the 1300s. In the school, they taught everything from mathematics to geometry to law to medicine and many more. The school was built in the heart of Granada. The building was constructed around the pool. The entrance of the pool was an eye-catcher as it was made of a beautiful white marble. In the front of the building, the exterior was decorated with inscriptions of poetry and philosophy. The inside contains a courtyard, prayer rooms, study and teaching rooms that are filled with beautiful inscriptions of poetry, along with honeycomb-style friezes and geometric architectural styles, a staple of Islamic art. Some of the words inscribed in the madrasa reads, "If in your spirit you provide a place for the desire to study and to flee from the shadows of ignorance, you will find in it the beautiful tree of honor. Make study shine like stars to the great, and those who are not, bring them to the same brilliance." The Muslims valued education and encouraged people to learn, bringing those of different faiths and backgrounds together and stronger. If you leave the madrasa and continue down the roads of Granada, you will stumble upon this beautifully preserved Arab bathhouse, also known as El Banuelo. This bath was a part of the mosque and was used by the Muslim people. The Arab bathhouses consisted of an entrance hall, a cold room, a warm room, and a hot room. The floors were hollow, which made it easy to boil the water above. The roofs contained star-shaped vents which helped manage the steam of the hot baths. The star-shaped vents were made of stained glass, which when light was shone through, gave the people feeling that they were bathing under the starlit sky. The Arab bathhouses were a way for Muslims to maintain personal hygiene as well as meeting spaces. Massages were also available. The people were able to take a moment away from life and relax. Our last stop is breathtaking, Alhambra Palace. The palace was built from 1232 to 1492 by the Nasrid dynasty. The main purpose of the palace was for military purposes, but later it served as a residence for the rulers and close family. The Alhambra could be looked at as a citadel, a palace, and a Medina all at the same time. The palace consists of three palaces: the Qamar's Palace, the Palace of the Lions, and the Pardo Palace. The Qamar's Palace is where the ruler lived. It contains a courtyard with a well-functioning fountain which was run through their well-engineered hydraulic system. The walls in the palace are decorated with tiles, carved stucco motifs, and calligraphy, another staple of Islamic art. In the Palace of the Lions, you can see 12 lion statues surrounding a fountain with, again, a part of the impressive hydraulic system. When you look up, you see carefully carved stuccos on the ceiling in the middle of the courtyard that are held up by columns that are recycled columns from the Romans before them. Lastly, the Pardo Palace contains views of fountains, water, gardens, and greenery. Muslims incorporated their vision of Jannah or the Quran. In the book, in passage 225, it states, "Gardens underneath which running water flows." They wanted their religion to reflect in their architecture. When the Muslims built the Alhambra, they incorporated mathematics into the structures. All of the structures are perfect proportions to each other, including the decorations. A perfect way to explain the reasoning behind their engineering plan of the Alhambra Palace would be because of their religion, Islam. According to the book Islamic Patterns and M.C. Escher's Tessellations, the author says, Muslim intellectuals recognize in geometry the unifying intermediary between the material and the spiritual world. These patterns may be seen as symbolizing the Islamic principles of Tawhid, the unity of all things, and Mizan, order and balance, which are the laws of creation in Islam. Islamic architecture was unique because Muslims were able to incorporate their religion into everything they built. It was something that the world was not used to seeing. Muslims identified themselves in the ancient world through architecture, through their beliefs. These people had identities that stemmed from their faith. Religion showed power and defined how they would contribute to their society. Religion dominated the Muslims, Christians, and Jews' value, lifestyle, and traditions. It seeped through and affected each group's building styles. Granada is a captivating city because the coexistence of religions is reflected in the architecture.